The clock has struck midnight for the CHGO Bears Podcast in London. This is the final show, live from my palatial hotel room, and hopefully there'll be some action over my my right shoulder at some point during the show if you're watching live on YouTube. And good afternoon to you, Gary Ross, as we are wrapping it up here. And thrilled to be able to talk about a Bears win, a Bears domination, a 4-2 football team, and a topic that I think we all wanted to have 6 games into it, which is, are they pretenders or contenders? And we'll get right into it here. But Gregory, let me welcome you in your new coat that you spent 130 pounds on, which I will remind you is about
Look at that. It's a beautiful thing. No, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man. This has been a lot of fun trip. I mean, last 24 hours here, Jenny and I are going to go to dinner at the top of the Shard, the tallest building here in London, have some dinner here in a little bit. So we're finishing strong on a very successful trip. Shout out to True Fan Travels for setting this up. I'm telling you guys, we're going to Arizona in a couple weeks, and if you want to join us to try to have something like this, obviously the London trip is going to be unique in its own way, but the Bears are hot, and True Fan Travel does literally everything in their ability to make these trips a home run. And I can promise you, every single fan that came here, it did not disappoint. Not one of them is regretting it, including me making this trip across the pond. What a successful trip. And it finished off with one hell of a Bears game.
Yeah, thanks to Vince. Thanks to True Fan Travel. Look forward to seeing whoever is coming to Arizona, and hopefully the Bears will be going for their 5th win in a row at that point, if they can somehow, some way get past Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, which we'll talk about, a lot more obviously down the line here. But
TrueFanTravel.com if you want to and search CHGO Bears, and you'll find all the information there.
There you go. As I turn on my computer light to a new level so people can just see my beautiful face. And I got to tell you, team, I'm about transparency, and this is the Jordan flu game for me. I don't know what had happened at about I went to the what did I go today? The London Natural History Museum, and somewhere on that exhibitions, something is hit, and the fever is popping right now.
You're homesick. You're homesick. That's
maybe it is. But we're gonna make it through here. And Steven, I slacked you a picture of. Wait, hold on. I slacked you a picture of I saw Greg Braggs at the Natural History Museum. Actually, I saw him about 10 times, but this is the one that I picked. So pop that up whenever you would like. I hope it went through. But Gregory, why don't you kick us off here? And I like to see in the chat here too, kind of taking the temperature, because when I was leaving the stadium last night, I was just talking to Bears fans on the train. So what do you think? Are they real? Is this it? And then, with the group here, and most people are pretty, I'd say, mellow. We'll see. They've got to beat a good team. They've the record of everyone they played, Jacksonville obviously included yesterday, ain't great. And the Jags were talking about how they quit yesterday. Some of that was making the rounds today. So I was actually kind of surprised by, in general, people like to go all in. And I think Bears fans are kind of taking this slow right now at 4-2.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bears fans have gotten beaten into a bloody pulp, when it comes to expectations and fear of being let down, especially over the last 5 years through the last 2 quarterbacks with Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields, and there was a lot of lightning rod conversation attached to both of them. And that's why I said the other night when we were here doing the show live in London, I said, I felt like this is a really pivotal moment for the Chicago Bears. And so there's a hesitancy to push your chips all in on the team, push your chips all in on the quarterback. But I think we're inching closer and closer to that becoming a reality, and fans starting to believe in the team when they're playing teams on paper that they, shouldn't worry about. Now, somebody said on the bus, like, well, what do you think they're going to – let's see what they do against the division. Well, let's see what this Bears team is in a month, because they're not going to be the team they are now. They ideally and theoretically should be much better. So yes, the schedule gets harder, but you got to kind of like, and we talked about this at the schedule release show. No, week 1 wasn't a primetime event, but at the same time, there was a stair step of tough team, easier teams on paper to tougher teams. And you're seeing that play out in real time. And you have a month until you play Green Bay. And there's a chance that when they get there, they'll be ready for that task.
We're working hard over here across the pond because we have pride in what we do and because we love you. And we confirmed that we do have the picks on Great Brags later in the program that I saw today. But hey, Steven, can you pop up the graphic that we worked hard on here as we take a look at what is to come for the Bears here? This is the remaining strength of schedule. And the Bears, there you see it, toughest in the NFL, just ahead of Detroit, Green Bay, San Francisco, Carolina. They're done. That's good for the Bears, obviously, with the draft pick. Cleveland, Giants, Dallas, Tennessee, Vegas, Jacksonville, and then Minnesota is down there at 12, which is why that's just worth mentioning. And toughest opponents, Vikings, Lions, Packers, Washington, San Francisco, Seattle. And the easiest are coming up next, the Patriots and the Cardinals. So, and look, if you look at Detroit, their toughest game, that's, they still have to play the Texans. They still have to play the Bills. If you look at Green Bay, they still got to play the Texans. They got to play the Niners and the Seahawks, just like the Bears. But they've got an extra little easier game in there with Jacksonville and the Saints and the Dolphins. But look, this people keep saying it, and I think certainly by the numbers, there is no argument. The NFC North is the toughest division in the NFL right now.
Yep.
Every team is on a multiple game winning streak. The Packers have won their last 2. Bears and Lions their last 3. Minnesota's undefeated 5 in a row. And everyone's point differential is not tight. Plus 63, the Vikings. Plus 60, the Lions. Plus 41, the Packers. Plus 47. Now, there are 2 other divisions that have three other divisions, that have positive point differentials. But none of them have a team or 2 of them that have 60-point, just bludgeoning teams. And there's a part of that is the schedule. But the division is playing very well. And one last point on this, Braggs, is that, and this is harsh, but the Detroit Lions lost Aiden Hutchinson yesterday in a horrible injury, and nobody wants to see that. It will have an impact, you would think, on how the season's going to go. They were up 34-6. 34-6. Now, it was early in the third quarter. I get it. And I'll bring it back to the Bears. There is no reason that a guy like that of that value needed to be on the field at that point. I'm not trying to kill Dan Campbell, but it's just bad optics when you get hurt up by 28 points. And again, early in the third quarter, but such a violent game. And yesterday, the Bears could have gotten Caleb out of there a little bit earlier. And no one wants to see Caleb taking shots. Eventually they did for the kneel downs, but he didn't need to play on the last couple of drives, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine line, right? I mean, football, anything can happen. Hell, you saw it in the Super Bowl with the Atlanta Falcons, when they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, So it's never over until it's over in football. Now you get into the fourth quarter, that's when you have to start making those decisions. And you did see the Bears yesterday at one point pull all of their starters, but that was later in the fourth quarter. So I can't really rail against Dan Campbell. And yeah, if it wasn't for that Aiden Hutchinson injury, I probably would be sitting here saying right now that the Lions could vary. I was talking with a Lions fan last night, but I'm like, they can win the Super Bowl this year. They have that look of determination on them, the way they fell short last year. And, it's obviously, I'm all in meatball all day for the Bears, but you have to respect what the Detroit Lions are doing. Don Burr's always in our chat, so I'm sure he's going to love to hear this. And when you look at the Bears' upcoming schedule and everyone seems to always say, well, the Bears match up well with the Detroit Lions. I agree with that sentiment. It'll be interesting to see how that matchup lines up again this year, because the Bears are a new-look team that have a new-look quarterback and a higher octane of potential, but the Lions have a championship mentality and feel to them when you watch them play. So it is something that has my antennas up, and they have my respect right now. This whole division, as you just showed with all the different stats, I mean, the 4 highest teams in point differential are in the NFC North. And I've heard a lot of belly aching from Bears fans that are saying, well, man, that just right when we get a good quarterback, now we got to deal with this. Good. Iron sharpens irons, the oldest adage in football sports conversation. If the Bears want to be Super Bowl champions, they got to win their division first. And if they're winning crappy divisions, sometimes that isn't enough of a litmus test to have you ready for the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, it is what it is. This is what the division will be for years to come. And I'm glad the Bears put on their big boy pants and put together a roster and got a quarterback in here that can handle this, because none of these teams are going anywhere, including the Bears. So let's hope that Caleb Williams is what Michael Jordan was to the Eastern Conference back in the 90s. You want to talk about the glory days of that conference. There were some really damn good teams that never got to the NBA Finals because of a certain guy. And I know, Carman, you cringe and want to, jump off the London Bridge every time you hear somebody draw those comparisons. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about winning Super Bowls, winning championships, you always are going to compare to the guy that won 6 of them here in Chicago.
I hear you, brother. Let's not put the cart before the old MJ horse, but that's okay. Hey, Craig Leach, thank you so much. $100 super chat. I know this is a developing team. I'm a realist. Not going to lie, I probably scared my neighbors yesterday morning. I was yelling, clapping, and cheering rather loudly, and admittedly got a little emotional watching the Bears work as a team that I haven't seen in years. And Craig, that's a sort of a great little, I think what's most important about the topic that we are speaking on right now. Hopefully my head is a little bit better right there. Okay, that's Bragg's producing to me, telling me that my head was too low. Okay, I hope that I feel more presidential now. Okay, lost my train of thought. That's not good. But here I got it. The point that I'm trying to make is I don't care about who they're playing. I don't care about who's coming up. I care about how they look. 12 straight games going back to last year, 20 or under. The quarterback clearly getting better. Talent around the quarterback starting to find their way. Chemistry is happening with the Bears. Keenan Allen making big catches in big-time moments. I made a quip yesterday when he had a 3rd down catch to our guy Herb Howard. I'm like, is that the first play that he's made as a Bear that's mattered? And Herb punched me in the face, and somehow I survived. But the point is that he hasn't taken off yet. And then yesterday we saw him have the 3rd down catch. Then he had another one. Then he had the touchdown catch. Let's be logical here. Do we not think we're going to see a whole lot more of that? I think we will. Well, DJ Moore's not off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not about who they're playing. It hasn't been all year. Early in the season when they were playing poorly, they couldn't block for anything. They couldn't run the ball. People were like, oh, well, they're playing the Colts next week, so they'll be able to run the ball. No, it's about the team and the chemistry and the continuity on the O-line, the offensive play caller learning he's got to script his first 15 plays, learning who his personnel is. Cole Kmet is your best tight end on this team. Make sure he gets more snaps than Gerald Everett. That didn't happen week 1. You had a lot of different personnel. So it didn't matter who they were playing at the time. They could have played the worst teams in football, but the Bears hadn't had their thing figured out. And now when you go to play these good teams, yes, your margin of error will shrink. But it's about what the Bears can do from an execution standpoint and an ability standpoint. And so you saw that play out yesterday. The Jags have a very good defensive line. This isn't the Carolina Panthers they beat yesterday. Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion, actually played a really good game as the quarterback. And the stats didn't show for that because of the way the defense played, and the Jags did drop a few touchdowns. But at the end of the day, it's because the Bears defense won the war of attrition. You have to give some credit there as well. So, I agree with you that it's not just about who they play. It's about how the Bears are playing themselves.
Take our first welcome to our sponsors today. And shout out to you, our friends at CIRCA Sportsbook. If you're betting the Bears these days, you're making money. The line flipped before that game from the Bears being a 1.5 point favorite to a 1.5 point underdog. You could have made some good If you believed in the Bears, you could have had a good day yesterday. Whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football on is CIRCA Sports Illinois. CIRCA Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. CIRCA Sports Illinois has the high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service that you deserve. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, in-game. CIRCA Sports has it. Fun to bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download that new bookie today at circasports.com. You do have to be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
That's right. And hey, London was calling this week, but Adventure is calling. So answer it this October by shopping new low prices during Jeep Adventure Days going on now at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. Stop in today to browse their huge inventory of new vehicles right now. Shop electric savings like 0% financing for 72 months on a new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4x4 and Wrangler 4xe models, or shop over the 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey. With Ray's price promise, the numbers you're hearing now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's price promise means no price changing, no add-ons, no hidden fees. That's the Ray Scarpelli promise. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry into Ray CDJR today and shop one of Chicago's area's largest inventories, then drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you should have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, because they are the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since
1963. My man Ray, who was over here, I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to see Ray, but Ray was busy doing big time Ray things, and maybe next time he'll make room for Carman and vice versa. I'm not going to completely blame Ray. But at any rate, that is a phenomenal Bears fan and a phenomenal supporter to the show. And the vehicles are supreme. Get yourself going on. Blaine is telling me to Carman, bring Pam back to Chicago. I'm flying tomorrow at 3:30. I don't know what I'm doing before that. I might go out and just, have tea with Pam in the morning and talk life. So it's on the table. Could bring her back. Well, I don't think she's leaving her family and her 14 grandkids. What are you laughing at, Gregory? Just the concept of Pam coming back?
Yeah, it's just I'm bringing her back, like she's gonna fit in the overhead luggage compartment or something. It's just funny.
We'll figure out. Don't worry about it. We'll kick you off the flight. You're on my same flight, which I absolutely. So I was at the London Natural History Museum today, and there was a lot of dudes that kind of looked like Greg, but I went with this one. My guy, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. the dodo bird. That dude is hanging out, and I just sat there honestly for like a couple of minutes. What's up, dodo bird? I was talking to the dodo bird in Jordan voice. You a real dodo bird? And then I thought to myself, I don't know, maybe Braggs is in another life a dodo bird, because they're not with us anymore, because history and
with your hair,
climate change,
whatever it's doing here tonight, you kind of look like the dodo bird tonight. So
you think that I'm the dodo bird?
Well,
there's a dodo bird.
I'll take it. I like the dodo bird. So
I had worse comps. That place is for anybody who's coming to London. It's a phenomenal excursion around. All right. Let's just keep on going down this road for just a couple more seconds here before we segue out. When you're talking about where the Bears are headed, what do you think that you can be confident in? And feel free to throw them in the chat. What do you believe in? Do you believe in Jervon Dexter continuing his ascension? Do you believe that Andrew Billings will continue to perform? By the way, we had a bunch of interviews from yesterday that are up on our YouTube page if you missed them. Do you believe that Montez Sweat is going to find his way to the quarterback a whole lot more the rest of the year? I don't think any of those things are unreasonable. It'd be almost illogical to think elsewise, right? Now, you got some banged up guys in the secondary. I don't know how soon Jaquan Brisker can get back, but you are seeing the depth show up here, even when he's out. Elijah Hicks was laying the lumber yesterday. That dude's been waiting for an opportunity to play. And no, he's not Brisker, but yes, he does bring a ton of energy. He's a solid energy substitution for Jaquan Brisker, if nothing else. And he's been in the system for 3 years. He knows what he's doing. We talked to him last week. He outlined, it's a lot easier now. We got a lot of better players in front of me. So is Jalen going anywhere? I don't think so. Kyler Gordon was walking around. He looked like he could have played the football game afterwards. I don't think Kyler's going to miss much time, if any time. So, and then the linebackers, the defense, this whole holding guys under 20. Yeah, Jacksonville dropped some balls yesterday. I'm not saying they're the best defense in the NFL, but it's going to be solid. You know you're going to have a solid defense. And then you flip the other side. How much better is Caleb going to be week 15 from week 5? If he stays healthy, I think the answer is a lot. The ascension is real. The talent is real. The work ethic is real. All this. So, I don't see any reason as just to wrap up our contenders or pretenders. I don't see any reason to take anything off the table. Which, for the record, I by the way, I did predict the Bears to be 9-8. I am upping my record, and you guys we can think about it for a second here, but I'm going to up it before we get off the show. Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know we're going to get into some of our prediction thoughts that we had during the season in terms of the season and the record. But like when you ask, what do I know? It's been a road here to start the season to find this Caleb Williams that we saw at training camp. Our eyes weren't deceiving us. And then there was just such a shock to the system those first couple of weeks, because at the end of the day, and I'm not going to point the finger at anybody else, I'll just point it at myself, I severely underestimated just how much of a learning curve it would be. Even though I kept saying it, I'm like, there will be a learning curve. There will be bumps in the road. Then they throw for 85 yards week 1, and it was like, this could take a year. And now that you fast forward to, weeks, 6 games into the season, it's like when we had Matt Waldman on, who's one of the smartest football minds you can possibly talk to in this business. He said, if you're trying to see quarterback development in real time, it's like sitting outside and watching grass grow. You're not going to see it, but then after a couple weeks, you'll be like, I got to mow the lawn. And so that's what's happened here with Caleb Williams. You go from week 1 to now, it's 2 totally different players. And you saw that play out at training camp as well, where early on it was a struggle. Nothing was lining up. And by the end of the preseason, and you saw a lot of it, on display on Hard Knocks, they hit their stride. They beat the brakes off Cincinnati when they came here for a joint practice in a preseason game. Their depth was showing that it's the foundation of what this team is suddenly. And the point differential in the preseason, we talked about it, was like, wow, some of these other teams that have had the kind of point differential they had were playoff caliber teams. Well, now the Bears have one of the top point differentials in all of football, along with the rest of the NFC North. So what I do know now is Caleb Williams is who we thought he is. And it's exciting. So we've got a few different things we can try to run through here with Caleb Williams and some of the stats that he's put out. Steven, if you want to share these with some of the class, and that to me is what I'm most confident in, and what I do know is Caleb Williams.
Yeah. So hit us up. Let's get everybody excited here. And by the way, I don't want to be old man on the lawn here. And, but like the whole it's okay to get excited thing.
Yeah.
You're like that conversation. Hey, get excited, don't get excited. None of it matters. They do on the field. It's how you want to, if you want to be a negative Nancy a la Carman and be nervous all the time about whatever in life, that's got a cost. You might be right, like I am 98% of the time, but you don't get to have as much fun. Go ahead.
I've never told fans how to fan. If you want to be cynical or guarded here before, saving yourself from a letdown, so be it. I always push my chips all in emotionally. But our guy, Tony Gill, here, our new head of content here at CHGO Sports, shared some stats with us this morning. It was probably the middle of the night for him. But he said from the NFL, Caleb Williams, Chicago's rookie quarterback, completed 23 of 29 pass attempts at a 79.3% clip for 226 yards and 4 touchdowns. Caleb Williams is the first rookie quarterback selected number 1 overall to win 4 of his first 6 career starts in the common draft era. So when you talk about, hey, best situation a number 1 pick has ever come into, so far 4 and 6, we all understand the schedule they've had so far, but it's holding serve when you consider the defense that he has around him and the playmakers he has around him, as you saw yesterday. Williams also became the 4th rookie quarterback with at least 4 touchdown passes and 50 rushing yards in a game, joining Pro Football Hall of Famers Troy Aikman and then also Robert Griffin III and Deshaun Watson. And then a couple other ones. Caleb Williams, 79.3 completion percentage, is the 3rd highest ever by a rookie quarterback in a game with at least 4 touchdown passes, trailing only Robert Griffin III, once again, who had an unbelievable rookie year, and Marcus Mariota. And then he also was the first quarterback ever to throw 4 touchdown passes in a game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. First rookie quarterback with multiple touchdown passes in a regular season international game. So, Caleb Williams is calm, cool, and collected. He's not afraid of the moment. He doesn't, it feels like whatever the newspaper clippings are, you can see it doesn't get to him. He is comfortable in his own skin, and it's exciting to see all that play out here, on an international stage and a big time win.
He wore the trench coat into the stadium yesterday. You want
to talk about MJ vibes? Those had some MJ vibes to him.
I mean, he's got a little swag going on. It's not Kyler Gordon swag, which, by the way, Gordon had a MRI today along with Scott Daly, both getting checked out here. As I exquisitely reported yesterday, I expect Gordon to be fine. I don't expect Daly to be fine.
Steven, did you have a little comparison game? I know you mentioned that to us here earlier. I know I'm putting you on the spot a few times.
Yeah.
And so I apologize, but I am curious to hear what it was, because you didn't spill the tea yet, and I want to hear this comparison.
Yeah, this is a blind resume I put together here. So it's comparing 2 different players. For our audio listeners, I'll just read out the stats here quickly. Player A, his completion percentage is 65.3. He's thrown for 1,300 yards, 169 rush yards, 9 TDs, 5 interceptions, and he's 4-2. Player B, a 59.6 completion percentage, 1,660 yards, so a little bit more there, 55 rush yards, 7 TDs, no interceptions, and a win-loss record of 3-3. Any idea who these 2 players are?
So this is this year? Right now.
That you got to guess that, Carm. I'm not going to give it away. I'll pop it back up for you.
Okay, so one could be from this year and one could be from another year, is what you're saying. That is interesting. That is interesting. So what I think our cutie patootie Stephen Nicholas is doing here, because I know that player A is Caleb Williams.
Right.
I know that because 9 touchdowns, the 5 picks, 4-2, all of it. Now, who was 3-3 after 6 games with a 60% completion? Is this a Justin Fields comp? Is that what we're doing here?
It is not. I don't want to fuel that fire.
I would say
good job.
I would say Peyton Manning potentially. I mean,
fair guess, except for he had a really. If I was comparing rookie seasons, we would say his interceptions.
He won 1 game.
0.
Yeah, he had 30 interceptions, right? His rookie year.
Yeah, I'll end the.
Who was 3-3? Is it
Mahomes, because he didn't play his rookie year. I know it's not Tom Brady.
Andrew Luck.
It's actually a good guess. I'm going to reveal it for you guys now. Player A is Caleb Williams. Player B is CJ Stroud in his first 6 games last season.
You dirty dog.
Well, the reason I'm making this comparison here is because we all talked about how CJ Stroud was the gold standard of rookie quarterbacks last season, or in any season, really. And we all said that if we got something like CJ Stroud's rookie season from Caleb, we would be ecstatic. We would feel like our prayers have finally been answered. And while there are some things that CJ Stroud has definitely been better at through 6 games, I think we could also say there's some things that he's been worse at than Caleb is this season. Now, I'm not going to say the win-loss thing is only a QB stat, but there's certainly a factor there. You look at the pass yards, okay, CJ Stroud hasn't beat. Well, CJ Stroud also threw a lot more passes in that time span. And if you take away Caleb's first game, where he threw 90 yards or something like that, and you take away CJ Stroud's first game, I just did games 2 through 6, those numbers are actually a lot more similar. Caleb's also been a much better rusher, and he's also thrown for more touchdown passes.
Well, Steven just won this segment. I switched into a producer role.
Thank you for doing that.
CHGO Bears.
I was wondering,
we had a little role reversal here, and Scottish Bear saying, "Read the chat, dummies. Most here got it right." Well, give us credit that me and Mark Carman did not cheat during that little game, and we made our pathetic attempts at trying to guess that. Shout out to the chat for getting it right, and shout out to you, Steven, for a very intriguing comparison. I know we got to take a break, and then after that, we'll talk about some of the record win-loss predictions and see if any viewpoints have changed off of that. But let's get into that now.
Excellent job, Gregory, and we want to say thank you to our friends at Empire. That's right. Empire today is your place for flooring. You get the in-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and of course, the low price guarantee. It's the high quality, it's the low price, it's the best place to get new flooring. There are copycats out there, but they're not giving you the same quality that Empire is going to provide. They're not going to make it as easy for you either. Empire prides themselves on their convenient shop-at-home services. They help customers shop for floors where they use their floors so they can see exactly what their new floors will look like in their home's lighting and the decor so you can make and informed decisions. They service their own warranties, which is sweet. You want the people that care about it doing that, and that's what they do at Empire. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners, you get $350 off. You get that discount when you use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details.
Braggs, you're muted.
Greg's muted
himself. I know. I'm sorry. I coughed, and I was being respectful, and then I was an idiot and didn't turn back on. Thank you.
Okay, keep going.
Yes, so I want to give a quick shout out to Zbiotics. Definitely was making the most of taking advantage of that here the last few nights in London. And I have to tell you about this game-changing product I use before a night out with drinks. It's called pre-alcohol. Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. I'm no spring chicken, as many of you know. I have to make a choice. I can either have a great night or a great next day. That is until I found pre-alcohol. Let me tell you, if there is a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after a long night of drinking, it's with pre-alcohol and Zbiotics. Zbiotics pre-alcohol prebiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Well, and here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Zbiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Every time I have pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice a difference the next day, even after a night out, and I can confidently plan on, doing whatever I got to do this show without worry. So I won't lie. I was a bit on the fence about pre-alcohol initially, but then while hanging out, over time, I gave it a shot, and believe me, it is the real deal, Holyfield. So I first gave pre-alcohol a try, and I drank it before my first, time, and knew that, hey, let's see what happens. And you wouldn't believe on how top of my game I felt the next morning. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I believe the hype, and with their GMO technology, they will release different products that help address toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. So go to Zbiotics /CHGO Bears to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use the code CHGO Bears at checkout. Zbiotics is backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked.
All right, let's go peek back at the NFC North as we continue on here on our final show from London. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've had out here and back home. Shout out to, I got a million guys I'm going to shout out at the end of the show here, but it's been a treat, and I will cry tomorrow morning and probably when I get off the show right now too, in 24 minutes or so. Thank you, Gritty. The Carm's hair is looking lush today. I Gritty, this thing is product up, but I want double hoodie on this today. It was a battle. The weather in London, rainy with a chance of more rain, and cold with a chance of damp and miserable. But I love you, London. You're my guy. So, all right. And Eric Beauchamp, I saw you do this earlier, and it's worth underlining. The NFC North is 17-5. 17-5, yo. That is no one thought that would be the case. But this is where, as I sit on optimism seat Carm right now, does anyone think logically that Sam Darnold is going to continue to have the 6th highest quarterback rating of any quarterback in the NFL, that he's going to continue to have a touchdown to interception ratio of 3-1. It's 11-4 right now. 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. How that will come down to earth. That is going to happen. And one of the reasons, by the way, Sam Darnold, he's been sacked 14 times. The dude is he's taken some heat. He's taken some punishment. So I think when I go down logical, optimistic Carm Street, Minnesota, outside of just the wins or whatever, just the level of play, they have to start coming down.
Yeah,
Pizzatola is literally agreeing with everything I said, and he's got a ban Carm for his avatar, and we're officially going to fight. That is unfortunate. But go ahead, Braxy.
Yeah, I would say nobody expected Sam Darnold to play like this, including Luke Benson, who we had on during the summer, if you recall, Mark, and he's with Locked On Vikings, and he's as dialed into the team as anybody that watches them, and he said this wasn't a team that was worried about wins or losses this year. It was all about, the future with JJ McCarthy, and they had zero expectations, and now look what they're doing. And so, now all of a sudden it's flipped. They've been playing so well that you're like, wow, it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. And at the end of the day, I think what we're seeing across the board in the division, and when you look at the record, coaching matters. Coaching matters. And Kevin O'Connell, I may not have as much confidence that Sam Darnold can carry on at this clip, but I also don't think it's going to be as dramatic as a fall off as maybe some fans are hoping for or expecting because of what Sam Darnold's done in the past. Now he has a coach that's lifting him up in Kevin O'Connell, and he has a defense that has his back, and the Vikings are playing complementary football. You saw the resurgence of Baker Mayfield's career as he left Cleveland, and it seems like Sam Darnold has finally found a home and stopped seeing ghosts, as he once said on the Carolina Panthers sideline. I believe it was with Carolina where he said that. And so, at the end of the day, he's found his groove. And so, yeah, I still think the Lions are the cream of the crop in this division. Jordan Love is such an intriguing player to watch because I think he's a very good quarterback, but there's a lot of fans that don't. There's a lot of fans that just think he throws these Hail Mary hospital balls, and that it's kind of a hope and a prayer thrower. And I just see a guy that's confident to throw into any window, and that's half of the equation when it comes to good quarterback play is confidence. And then, a big part of it is your play caller. And Matt LaFleur, when you talk about coaches in Green Bay, they've got one of the best play callers in football. So, do the Bears still have the worst coach in the division? Probably, but that really speaks and is a testament to the quality of the division and less of a shot at Matt Eberflus. Maybe that would have been a shot a couple months ago or last year, but now everyone's coaching at a much higher clip. So when you say that Matt Eberflus is the worst coach in this division, I think it's more of a respect to this division and less of a slap in the face to the Flus.
So just for knowledge's sake out there, if the playoffs started today, which I'm pretty sure they don't, but if they did, of course, your number 1 seed in the NFC would be Minnesota at 5-0. The 2 seed would be out of the South, Atlanta. Then the Commanders at 4-2, both same records. That's your 2 and 3 seed. Then the Niners out of the West at 3-3, because that's the top of the division. The Lions are 5th at 4-1. Then the Bucks, and then the Packers and Bears are both tied at 4-2 as your 7-8. And Green Bay right now wins the tiebreak over the Bears based on win percentage. That's not going to matter when we kill them, and they'll be dead. But the point being, the Bucks could get knocked out of here. The Commanders could get the Bucks could get knocked out of here, and there you have it. All 4 teams in the North. That's what it would take, because you have to have all the division winners. But Tampa Bay, see you later. It could happen.
Yeah, I mean, we're a long ways from getting to that point. At the end of the day, Lovie Smith used to break the seasons into quarters. Obviously this next quarter of the season, the next 4 games, I know there's 17 now, so everybody's going to make fun of my math, but I understand that there isn't quarters anymore. But at the same time, the next 4 games next 4 weeks where you have a bye, and then 3 games before you get into the gauntlet, as everyone's calling it, when you start with Green Bay and head down a much tougher road. It's just such a pivotal moment for this team and their playoff aspirations. So, now they have to at least go 2-1. You go 1-2, that kind of puts you behind the 8 ball again. You've built yourself a bit of a margin of error with your 3-game winning streak, the first in the Matt Eberflus era. And so I do believe on paper they can beat the New England Patriots. I think I can say that with confidence. And Drake May coming in here now for the first time, their rookie quarterback. So then it comes down to how they can play on the road against the Commanders and Arizona. And I know I saw Jeff Agrest, a guy that, that does good work kind of covering the media and TV, news of the day. He's been keeping us up to date with the CHSN stuff. And he said that the NFL really isn't considering flexing that Commanders game into prime time because they want to keep that noon slot to let the Bears Commanders game kind of be the highlight of that noon slate. So how they can play against the Commanders and Cardinals is going to kind of tell us what we need to know about their playoff aspirations. If they go 2-1, they're going to be in really good shape with an opportunity to only have to go 4-4 the rest of the way. They go 3-0. God forbid, I'm going to be streaking down Lakeshore Drive, because that means they are now 7-2, and all they have to do the rest of the way is go 3-5. And honestly, they'd probably do better than that. So now when we get into what our schedule predictions were, we're starting to see this kind of lay out into a realistic way, and in the last couple of years, and I know I'm going a little long here, Carman, but the last couple of years, we're trying to see our way to a certain win total that just wasn't realistic. And this year, to start the year, we all kind of had to take a step back, but now it's kind of reset into, okay, they can do what we thought they were capable of going into the season.
Got one more segment to go here, and I am going to underline what my morning was today, which started with Gregory P. Allen, lunatic Braggs. But first, shout out to our friends at Factor Meal Kits. Warmer, beautiful Bears days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for the rest of the Bears season, thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy the nutritious, great, delicious tasting meals. You want to keep kitchen time to a minimum. If you're like me, Factor meals, they're ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, cleaning up, all the good stuff. Head to factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50. Use that code CHGO Bears 50 and you get 50% off your first box, 20% off the next month. That code, once again, CHGO Bears 50 at factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50. 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Thank you to our friends at Factor. So last night in the hotel lobby, after losing his voice and sounding worse than anyone's ever sounded on a podcast, that I didn't want him to do the podcast, but we all knew that Greg Braggs was not going to take the out because there's nothing he loves more than talking to you people right here. And he loves you and I love you and all that, even though he probably could have taken last night off because he sounded terrible, but he because he's Braggs. And then next thing you know, I mean, we're having long days here. The dude shows up downstairs, 2 bottles of alcohol. 2, not 1. And
I was sharing it. Thank you very much with a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I understand. But you could have shared 1 bottle. You shared 2 bottles. And it kept going and going and going. And I went to bed, and others went to bed, and Hogue went to bed, and Braggs kept going. And then I left my my power cord adapter 1 flight up from where the bar is downstairs. So I had to go down to get it because otherwise my phone wasn't going to be charged. I go down there. This is 20 minutes after I left. And the loudest guy in all of London is the guy that I'm doing this podcast with right now, just reveling downstairs. And then this morning, I get up, tired. I'm thinking about not making it to breakfast. I walk down there, and this dude is at breakfast. And I don't know if it was Zbiotics or whatever it was, but you were ready for your day, buddy. And that's when I just realized this dude is different. There is nobody that I've met, with the exception of my guy Simon Piacente, R.I.P., that does what you do. So congratulations, buddy. You straight lunatic. I do recommend healthier life choices for you, but you're killing it.
Well, I'm a little disappointed in you because there is somebody that was very similar in this way of this just maniacal mindset, great golfer, never slept, very competitive, dominates the day, plays through injury, plays through sickness. Who is that guy, Mark Carman? Who is that guy? That would be Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I grew up, as many of us did in that era, from the school of Michael Jordan, who had an unrelenting desire for greatness. And that's who raised me. Michael Jordan raised me and my good mother. Shout out to you, Barb. But I follow in the steps of Michael Jordan, and he never slept. He always was up to something and yet showed up the next day and dropped 40 on your head. And that's what I'm doing here for all you fine people. And really for myself, because I really love doing this. There was somebody on Twitter, because when we did our halftime report with me and Adam Hogue, we put a video out, and he's like breaking. There's all this crowd behind us. You can barely hear us. And Adam's like breaking down the first half, and I'm just chugging a beer. Somehow I found the taste for beer. I've always been more of a whiskey guy, anybody that knows me. And now all of a sudden I think I might have found something here. But somebody did say in the comments, gotta say, Braggs did pretty well post-game coverage-wise, considering his blood alcohol levels. So thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement, because I had a lot of people questioning me if I was going to be able to handle the post-game, and I thought I put out a pretty good performance, a ripped-out voice otherwise.
It was unbelievable. It was maybe the best podcast I've ever seen one guy do on a 4-man show. Don't enable him out there. Tell him to get his act together and get some rest. But you came to play. So congratulations, Gregory.
AP said, I was thinking more Rodman after watching that documentary.
Yes, that would be
as much as I always want to be the Jordan, I probably am more the Rodman. You're probably not wrong there.
It's amazing that he needed you to underline that to him.
Well, I have Jake Flanagan telling me this all the time as well. So,
you do?
Yes, he has made this comparison to me because, as you know, Mark, I am a legend in my own mind. So, but maybe I am more Rodman than Jordan. But I always feel like I have the Jordan mentality, Mark Carman, an unrelenting competitiveness to keep you and motivate you, my good friend, to be your best, even when health-wise maybe you're not feeling up to it. I'm going to motivate and inspire you to greatness. And I'm going to kick you that ball in the corner, Steve Kerr, and I want you to knock down the 3.
Can I get the Dodo Bird, please? Dodo Bird, and mute his mic. Hey, on my way out here from the Dodo Bird and from Braggs and from Steven and from Brandon Spano, our CEO, and Lindsay and Hogue and Kevin Kaduk and Stephen Nicholas, who actually is the Jordan on the show with the amount of effort that he's been putting in all week long, just absolutely dominating. We all appreciate the support that we've had this week. But shout out to Mike G in Arizona, who's a new CHGO Bears fan. Chris, the fireman living in England in Hereford in the sticks. Welcome, Chris. You're now a CHGO Bears fan, and you should become a diehard. My guy Miles in Italy. Appreciate you, Miles, coming in late last night. Matt from Fair Oak, a tiny little village. We're just making friends over here, Braggs. Eric in the blanket last night. He had a sweet blanket, and from New Mexico. And Linda, who brought a Sean Gale picture. Sean Gale was awesome to talk to, by the way. Shout out Sean Gale, 23. Mike in Norwood Park, who made the trip over. Football coach, semi-pro, my guy. Mercedes. Love you, Mercedes. Tim, who hangs out at Flo and Santos. And Kurt as well from Hinch. Love you guys. Sam, who was a Northwestern student, Braggs, and then transferred overseas to Sussex in 1983 and became a hoop star over the pond. Could never have played in the Big Ten, but was able to play for Sussex. Nathan in Grand Rapids, it was his first game, a Bears game yesterday. A lot of people had their first Bears games. Brian, the dad from Elmhurst, became a Bears fan in 85. A lot of Bears fans that I met this week that became Bears fans in 85. That's the reason I was a Bears fan before that. Shout out. Devin from Elmhurst in the music industry. He wants to get going in the streaming service world. Devin's got big dreams. Jacob Benyon from Edmond, Oklahoma. I asked him, why are you a Bears fan? He said January 26, 1986. What about my guy Patrick from Manchester? Andy and Allison, screenwriters. This guy worked on Air. Oh, wait, maybe that's not right. I might have that wrong.
Well, while you're finding that, I also want to shout out Chris in Georgia, who are from around here. They live about 3 hours outside of London. They came through. I met them at the game. And as I was carrying 4 beers up to the seat to share with another guy, Ryan, I sit down in our seats to watch the game. His old man's next to him. I'm talking to him. We're talking about the game. And all of a sudden, Ryan, his son, he's like, dude, he's like, and he knew the show. He knew who I was. And then we ended up sharing a few beers. And it just goes to show you just how far this stretches. Ryan's from Florida. Chris in Georgia from over here. I see Chris walking through. I go, hey, man, we're going to be doing a live show over here. Come on through. And here he was. And then he was one of the last 4 or 5 people, me, Steven, Big Dave, Chris, Ryan, and Sarah, another great producer here at CHGO Sports, doing a lot of hard work this week, and her boyfriend, Josh. Like, we're all hanging out late into the night. So it was just such a special week and a celebration of Bears fans, but also a compliment from all of you that support what we do here, and to see a lot of you fans that don't live close to home, can't come to our tailgates, can't come to our events, but to be able to meet you guys in person, shake your hand. Thank you to each and every one of you that stopped us to let us know who you are, because for us, that means a lot. I know Carm really values trying to remember each and every person that does that. And we value you guys, everybody. Matthew Gregory, a guy that I hung out with a lot, last time I was in Arizona for the Final Four, and now we're going to be back there in a couple weeks. And me and Matt are going to be heading over to Grimaldi's as soon as I get there and eat some good pizza. So really excited. Adam Hogue is on the Eurostar Bears Express, leaving Paris right now. That's why Adam was in part. He was hanging out with his lovely family, taking the train back to London, and we're all heading out tomorrow. Adam had, you talk about Bears fans going to their first game. It was his first game in a long time being in the stands. Yours as well, Carman. Seeing him with his entire family, his dad and his wife and his son, and singing Sweet Caroline. I shared that video. Hopefully Hoke's cool with that. But it was just such a special thing and a wholesome moment. And that's kind of what this week was about, with some great moments, topped off with a great win. So, again, thank you to everyone that came out. And once again, if you want to be a part of this kind of experience, you still have time if you go to truefantravel.com, and you can make, if you weren't able to make this trip, you can join us in Phoenix, Arizona to see the Bears go head-to-head with the Arizona Cardinals on November 3rd. Package includes a 3-night stay at a hotel, Q&A with Bears alumni still to be announced, but Corey Wooten will be on that trip with us as well. An all-inclusive tailgate party. We have a golf event that's already set up for Saturday morning. So if you want to, swing the sticks with us, we're probably going to do some kind of a scramble, round-trip transportation to the game, an upper-level game ticket to Bears versus Cardinals. So reserve your spot at the party at truefantravel.com. Limited spots available, but if you get on it now, you can join us on the trip. And then one other thing I do want to give a quick shout out for the shirts. We had a quick shirt design put out, as you see here on this show. Make sure you head over to our, merchandise. And I know we've changed it, Carm, so save me here. But here's our CHGO London, kind of blend here for CHGO Bears. And you can get that at store.allcitynetwork.com to get that shirt here, as you see on our screen on YouTube.
Yeah. And I see Hogue in the chat reminding everybody that tomorrow, special edition of the 85, which nobody had a bigger trip to London than Cole Kmet did. The guy was, we talked about it at length yesterday. 2 touchdowns, snapping balls, winning games, denying Carm in the tunnel, which was a great move by him to try to get him on yesterday. I just wanted to talk to Hogue today. No, I'm kidding. He had family to talk to. Yes.
Yep, the 85 coming up, and I've seen a few people asking about After Dark coming up for you guys tonight. That'll be Joey Christopoulos joining with Corey Wooten, and Adam Rank, I believe, is scheduled to be on. Like, he's been on every Monday here with us, and we really appreciate his contributions here to the network. So stay tuned for that. I'll obviously be on a different time zone, so I will not be hosting, but I'm excited to get back to work when we get home and get back into some of the shows we have been doing. So Blaine here, Coke Lamanis, saying, Gregory, I have a bottle of Weller Antique with your name on it. Bear down. Next time I make it to a Chicago Bears game, looking for you guys, Carm, Hogue, and Nick. You two guys, Weller Antique. I'm looking forward to it. Come by our tailgate anytime you're in Chicago. Go to allchgo.com/events, get your ticket. You will not regret those. Those are a lot of fun, and we still got a long ways to go before the next home game. So hopefully you guys can all make it out for that. So that's it. I just want to make sure everybody After Dark slate.
Okay. It's the last couple of people. I know I'm going to miss some folks here, but Matthias in Germany, he's got his own Bears podcast, Into the Bears Bamboozle. Thank you for saying hi, my man. Cole and Sarah, talked a ton of tennis with them. My peeps from Colorado. I know that their tennis game is going to be upticked. There's so much potential there. It's unbelievable. Tim in Arizona via Hammond. Santos. He loves the pierogies and beer. He loves the Walter and the Curtis Conway. And our guy, Chris, Mark Carm, which I am looking for this. The pin. Yes. This is the He told me 500 times what this is. It's an honor for doing a good job. He loves the pod. Here's a guy who served our country for 20 years, still living in Japan, working on ships, made the time to come over. Just an absolute pleasure to talk to all week long, and it's been a treat. So thank you to one and all. I hope I got at least 98% of everybody in there. Listen, we are Hogue, travel safe. Don't knock on my door for this microphone. I am going to be in the bathroom all night long. And
real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to
Am I still with us?
Yes, you are. Real quick, just wanted to give a quick shout out to Scottish Bear. He said earlier in the show that his cancer operation was a success. Treatment goes on, but hey, man, keep the grind up. You're always in our chats every single day, and we really appreciate you. Hopefully, one day we get to shake your hand as well at one of these events or whenever we get a chance to meet. But hey, keep up the hard work, and thank you for everything, for all your support here. We'll continue to support you.
We're no show tomorrow. We're all traveling back, and then Wednesday in studio, back at it like we were never gone, baby. So Hogue will be there. I'll be there. We might let this guy in too, or vice versa. He'll let us in. We know how this works. The CEO that I get to work with every day. It's been an absolute treat. I'd like to say goodbye to him and the dodo bird, if I may.
The
nice,
dodo
solid.
Somebody said in the chat, the dodo drip with my jacket and my Victory Monday shirt, baby. And then, they got this sweet jacket. It was only here as limited edition, Mitchell and Ness. Look at this inside lining. Yes, I'm flexing on you, but got a little drip. This acid thing, this is their design company out here. So they had like a little, collab.
Yeah.
Look at the Bears London, and it was worth every penny. Mark Carman.
I bet it was. All right. Bears are 4-2. We're traveling. We thank you. We'll see you Wednesday. Stephen, thanks for producing. This is truly a great team, except for Carm. Thank you, Pizzatola. It's a good way to end the show as always. Have a great rest of your day.
We all silly like the mayor.